The crisp morning air filled Brody's lungs as he tightened the straps on his backpack, the first rays of sunlight glinting off the rugged Ohio cliff face before him. His hiking partner Mike adjusted his climbing gloves, squinting up at the steep ascent they'd planned for today's adventure. Both experienced outdoorsmen in their late 20s. They'd tackled tougher terrain before, but nothing could have prepared them for what they were about to discover. "Think we can make it to the summit by noon?" Mike asked, stretching his shoulders. Brody grinned, patting the coiled rope at his side. "If we take the eastern ridge, sure, unless you're getting slow in your old age." The playful jab earned him an elbow to the ribs as they began their climb. The limestone cliff offered decent handholds, their calloused fingers finding purchase in the weathered rock. About 150 feet up, Brody paused to wipe sweat from his brow. That's when he saw it. "Mike, look at this." Embedded in the cliff face was a perfect rectangle of straight lines, about 5 feet tall and 3 feet wide. The edges were too precise, too symmetrical to be natural erosion. Mike ran his fingers along the grooves, his brow furrowing. "That's man-made," he breathed. "But who the hell would carve a doorway halfway up a mountain?" Their climbing forgotten, the two men examined the strange formation. The door appeared to be sealed shut by what looked like a carefully fitted boulder. Brody's pulse quickened as he noticed tool marks around the edges. Someone had gone to great lengths to conceal whatever lay behind it. Using their climbing gear, they rigged a makeshift pulley system with carabiners and rope. After nearly an hour of straining against the massive stone, their muscles burning with effort, the boulder suddenly shifted with an ear-splitting crack. A rush of stale, sulfur-tinged air billowed from the dark opening as the seal gave way. The tunnel beyond stretched into blackness, the walls unnaturally smooth. A rotten egg stench of sulfur made them gag. Mike shone his flashlight inside, revealing a passageway that descended at a slight angle into the mountain's heart. "We should call this in," Mike said uncertainly. "And say what? We found a hole in a rock?" Brody countered, already stepping inside. "Come on, just a quick look." The temperature dropped noticeably within just a few yards. Condensation dripped from the ceiling, the walls slick with moisture. Their flashlight beams reflected off standing puddles that smelled strongly of minerals. About 50 feet in, Mike stopped dead. "Those are pick marks," he whispered, running a hand along the wall. "Someone dug this by hand." A sudden metallic clang echoed from deeper in the tunnel. Both men froze. Then came the whistling, an eerie, off-key tune that bounced off the stone walls. Human, recent. Adrenaline surging, they pressed forward, rounding a bend to find a chamber illuminated by flickering lantern light. An elderly man, perhaps in his 70s, swung a pickaxe at the far wall, his wiry frame silhouetted against the glow. He wore tattered overalls and a battered leather jacket, his long white hair tied back with twine. Before they could retreat, the man whirled around, raising his pickaxe threateningly. "Who are you?" he rasped, squinting through the gloom. "You after my sparkle?" Brody raised his hand slowly. "We're just hikers, sir. We found your door." The old man's eyes darted between them suspiciously. Then, with startling speed, he lunged forward, forcing them to scramble back against the tunnel wall. Their retreat was cut short as they stumbled into something metal, a massive rusted furnace that suddenly roared to life, its pipes glowing red-hot. The searing heat forced them sideways, revealing what lay beyond the furnace, a sight that made both men gasp. Stacked nearly to the 8-foot ceiling were mounds of gold nuggets, some as large as baseballs glittering in the lantern light. The makeshift shelves around them held jars filled with gold dust and raw gemstones. "I'm Bob," the old man said suddenly, lowering his pickaxe slightly. "Been up here since '82. Over the next several hours, Bob's incredible story unfolded. He'd been a geology student when he first discovered gold in these mountains. Rather than stake a legal claim, he'd secretly tunneled into the cliffside using dynamite sparingly to avoid detection. What began as a summer project turned into decades of isolation. "I got everything I need," Bob said, gesturing to his makeshift home. A cot, a wood stove, and shelves of canned goods. Town's just 8 miles south when I need supplies. Mike eyed the fortune surrounding them. Do you have any idea what this is worth? Bob shrugged. Sparkle's pretty. Never saw much use for it beyond that. The hikers exchanged glances. This wasn't just a gold mine. It was the life's work of a man who'd completely withdrawn from society. The tools around them told the story. Handmade leather bellows for the furnace, a water filtration system using layered sandstone, even a crude calendar notched into the wall marking 40 years of solitude. Over the next week, Brody and Mike made daily visits, slowly gaining Bob's trust. They brought fresh food, batteries for lanterns, and most importantly, news of the outside world. The more they shared, the more a spark of curiosity returned to Bob's eyes. You mean to tell me, Bob said one evening, squinting at Mike's smartphone, this little thing can talk to someone in China? Not just talk, Mike laughed, pulling up a video call with his sister in Tokyo. Bob's awestruck expression as he waved at the tiny screen was priceless. The breakthrough came when Brody found Bob coughing violently one morning, his breathing labored. 40 years of inhaling rock dust had taken its toll. You need a doctor, Brody insisted, and this, he gestured at the gold, could get you the best care in the world. After much persuasion, Bob agreed to leave, on one condition. I ain't going to no nursing home, he growled. What followed was a logistical nightmare. They contacted a reputable gold buyer from Cleveland who nearly fainted when he saw the haul. Working in secret to avoid drawing attention, they spent weeks carefully extracting Bob's lifetime of work, nearly 400 pounds of raw gold and gems. The final sale netted $23.8 million after taxes and fees. True to their word, Brody and Mike helped Bob purchase a modest cabin on 50 wooded acres, complete with modern amenities, and a caretaker who came by twice a week. At the signing, Bob stared at the paperwork with trembling hands. Never thought I'd own land legally, he chuckled. The two hikers refused any payment, though Bob insisted on funding their outdoor equipment shop. Call it an investment, he winked. Now, 3 years later, Bob hosts monthly dinners at his cabin where he proudly shows visitors his rock collection, legally sourced these days. His latest project? Writing a memoir about his decades in the mountain. As for Brody and Mike, they still hike those same cliffs occasionally. Sometimes they pause at the now sealed tunnel entrance, remembering the day curiosity led them to a fortune, and more importantly, to a friendship that changed all their lives. The mountain keeps its secrets well, but for those willing to look closer, sometimes it shares its treasures in the most unexpected ways.